independent in thought, and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Chicago Police Superintendent Eddie Johnson saying Empire actor Jussie Smollett paid two men $3,500 to help him stage the attack.
As far as we can tell, the scratches and bruising that you saw on his face was most likely self-inflicted.
Johnson adding,
"This stunt was orchestrated by Smollett because he was dissatisfied with his salary."
The superintendent saying police believe Smollett was also behind the threatening notes sent to the Empire studio a week before the alleged attack.
Now think about this for a second. And I want to tell you guys, people say, oh my God, he's a rich, famous actor. He makes $20,000 an episode, which you're like, oh, that's great. In Hollywood, it's peanuts. It's not massive. I don't know how this in any way, shape, or form was going to get you more money, because let's be real. If this gets you more money, there's going to be plenty of people going, all right, here's the deal. I'll beat you up, then you beat me up, then we'll go in and ask for a raise. That'll be perfect. This is ridiculous. And Chicago, who held this bizarre press conference today talking about stuff, and some of it I thought, you know what, these kind of things should be talked about. Eddie Johnson talked about it today. And first and foremost, the noose.
I'm left hanging my head and asking why. Why would anyone, especially an African-American man, use the symbolism of a noose to make false accusations?
Yeah, I think that is a fair question. But he wanted to bring publicity to himself. And he's not worth millions upon millions of dollars. His net worth, according to several, outlets, is only about $500,000, which is pretty decent. But in a day and age where you see other people on the show that you're on making 10 times as much money as you are, maybe you think this is the only way you're going to get into a situation where you're frustrated. Who knows what it was? And I don't. And when you do something like this right here is, I think you got some mental issues, right? I don't know if it's the Mighty Duck curse, because there's 3 Mighty Ducks that have been arrested. He was an original Mighty Duck. He was. And last night, I will say, after we talked about this last night, and we tweeted something out about this, I got a lot of blowback from people saying, well, this people already rushing to his defense saying, well, this is what Trump's America looks like anyways. Maybe they were trying to justify his actions. There's no justifications for what he did. You cast aspersions on a group of people, right? That, the MAGA supporters and all this kind of stuff. But on top of that, most importantly, and this is something that's real, that is, you've now taken away and you've lessened people's belief in other people who will face potential hate crimes in the future, from the LGBT community, from the African American community. You have done that. And now people will look at stuff and say, oh, is this another person crying wolf? And Chicago, I think one of the reasons they held this kind of crazy press conference today, right? I think one of the big reasons they did that is because the spotlight was shined on them in a big, big way. And, you have people coming out going, well, Chicago police are so corrupt and all of this kind of stuff. I think it's one of the reasons they did it. Like, they were getting damned for this. And in some ways, the resources that were taken away from other issues going on out there in Chicago, including gun violence and a lot of other crimes, because of this. Because of this.
As I look out into the crowd, I just wish that the families of gun violence in this city got this much attention, because that's who really deserves the amount of attention that we're giving to this particular incident.
Yeah. But I think they were also up there in some ways defending, hey, everybody's saying that we are in on it, right? Because that's how many people did you hear talk about? Well, Chicago's a really dirty place, and he was probably forced into this, or something happened, and you can't trust. And I think that's one of the big reasons they came out and said, no, we didn't do that. But a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of manpower was put into this, and he's in some serious trouble.
It was an intense investigation. It's a very meticulous case. It took a lot of city resources, and he's going to be held accountable for that.
Yeah, and he faces up to 3 years. He'll probably do no time, but then you have to look at the career, right? You have to look at the career. What happens from here? Who's going to hire you again? It is Hollywood, right? So Hollywood is usually a forgiving, but it's a weird kind of forgiving. You're a drug addict. You have problems like that. We're willing to forgive. You did a tweet 5, 6, 8, 12, 14 years ago, took a picture or did something. You may pay the price, right? But this is a weird thing. And he got the publicity he wanted. It's just not in the way he wanted it. And I don't know if we'll be seeing him anytime soon. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You could tweet at us. Love hearing from every single one of you. So we are potentially a week away from the Mueller report coming out, although some people, I talked to Tom Del Picaro last night, an attorney, and used to work with the Republican Party, saying the chances of it coming out next week probably not as great as people think, because Trump's going to be out of the country. He's going to be in Vietnam. So it may not come out until Friday, maybe at the earliest, or the following week. I don't know when it's going to come out, but it looks like it's coming out sooner rather than later. And I still think in the end, from what I'm hearing, it's going to be the gray area. There is not going to be any smoking gun. We don't even know how much we're going to see. And I want to see how this thing plays itself out, because we are a fickle society, meaning people now who can't stand Mueller, who are on the right, if they don't find anything there, Mueller won't be the worst enemy that a lot of people see him as. People who think Mueller is the knight, right, in shining armor, riding in on the steed, that is going to be the person who unearths everything and eventually takes down this evil regime that is the Trump regime. He will then become the villain, and people start saying, well, he's registered Republican.
I have total confidence in Director Mueller and the team he's put together. I think the work they've done to date has been extraordinary, just watching it as we all do from the information that becomes public. I will have complete faith in the conclusions that they draw. I think those conclusions should be shared with the American public in the absolute broadest way possible.
Let me ask you something that's stuck.
Yeah, here's the thing about that, and it should be shared. But we know that it is going to be shared, and that's why the gray area comes in only certain areas. As I was telling somebody last night, they said, well, Chad, you're talking about those gray areas and it's going to be open to interpretation. Yes. But I said, the thing that you should think about the most is if there's no indictments coming for Trump Jr. or Kushner or, Trump or any of these other things, if there's none of that stuff, then the reasonable conclusion is, well, they probably wasn't enough to get him in real trouble. So there was no there. That should be enough to say, it's not really a smoking gun scenario. But because we won't see everything, there will always be this air of it is a cover-up in some way, shape, or form. And that's what will happen from there. So whether or not it actually comes out, I couldn't tell you at all. I couldn't, because it's up to Barr, and what we see may be just bits and pieces and bits and pieces.
Mr. President, should the Mueller report be released while you're abroad next week?
That'll be totally up to the new Attorney General. That'll be totally up to him.
Should the report become public, do you think?
I guess from what I understand, that will be totally up to the Attorney General.
Here's the one thing about Barr is he's already done this job before. He is he's no stooge. He's not going to take it from Trump. He's not going to, I heard somebody say he's not going to, let Trump push him around, and I don't think that to be true. So I think there's a chance we'll see a little bit of it, but redacted and all this stuff. Like I say, a lot of gray areas. So if you're looking for a smoking gun or something that completely exonerates him, completely 110%, no, in life, it's not what you know, it's what you can prove. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Love hearing from you. Sad news today.
Hey, we're the Monkees, and people say we monkey around, but we're too busy singing to put anybody
Peter Tork died. Peter Houston Thorkelson, a.k.a. Peter Tork, died at 77 years old. I got to be honest, I like the Monkees. Right? Like, weren't they... Who didn't watch the Monkees? Like, if you're my age, you totally watched the Monkees. Passed away. Man, it's... Was he the best? Now, Phil, you're a musician. You've played the instruments and whatnot. Is he the best of all of the Monkees as far as musician-wise goes?
I'll have to give that to Michael Nesmith.
Oh, you think so? Is he the Ringo? Is he the George?
I think he was a little bit better than the rest of them.
Yeah. It's interesting. I did love the Monkees as a kid growing up. Passed away at 77. I was saying, man, seems a little bit young. Isn't that great, though, that we live in an age where 77 seems a bit young? You're like, what? Yeah, 77 seems a bit young nowadays. You think, well, he probably had a good 10, 15 years left in him. Nope, 77. He'd been struggling for 10 years on and off with cancer. But he was still out there touring around even as early as a few years ago with, they had an evening with the Monkees and the 45th anniversary tour. But definitely an interesting character. Remember, they were supposed to be kind of the humorous answer somewhat to the Beatles. There's these guys put together, and you had this it was an odd thing, and something that lasted a very short period of time on television, though lasted forever in a lot of people's minds. And when you hear that music, you're like, oh, I know that song. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Love hearing from all of you. Hey, when do you want to spot a burglar? All right. When they're outside, not when they're inside. Right? But how do you spot one when they're outside? You don't have x-ray eyes. You're like, no, you don't have that. You know what you do have? You have Blink Home Security. And you know what they have? Amazing cameras that will alert you of somebody outside. And they're like, oh, look at that. And automatically, boom, it alerts you to your smartphone app. So you know, woo. On top of that, it's great when you aren't home and somebody doesn't try to break in, but you have something on the porch. Next thing you know, Blink Cameras catches it. Porch Pirates caught. You turn it into the police. Bing, bang, boom. Winner, winner. Motion activated indoor and outdoor cameras, wire-free, set up in minutes, run on 2 AA batteries. They last up to 2 years. And if you're traveling, if you're not there a lot, or even if you got stuff being delivered at home, whatever it is, maybe you just want to check into your past, guess what? They have a live feed option, so you can check in on all of those things using the Blink smartphone app. No contracts, no subscriptions, totally affordable. Blink works with Alexa. Get your camera system right now. They make incredible gifts. They're a great way to monitor those package deliveries. Visit blinkprotect.com/Benson. That's blinkprotect.com/Benson. Blinkprotect.com/Benson. Blink is an Amazon company. At Chad Benson Show, Twitter, ChadBenson. It's the Chad Benson Show.
You go, boy.
This isn't about right or left. This is just about right and wrong.
Right you are, Chad. The Chad Benson Show.
Judge Amy Berman Jackson imposed a full gag order on Roger Stone that prohibits him from speaking publicly about the special counsel's criminal case after Stone posted an inflammatory image of the judge with a crosshairs. The judge warned Stone that a violation would put him in jail. This is a second chance, the judge said, but this is not baseball. She said there would be no third chance. Stone apologized for the post, but the judge questioned his sincerity. She said Stone understands the power of words and symbols. She said there's nothing confusing about crosshairs.
Oh, he's an idiot. He is. Look, you're in enough trouble. And I get, you got to get out there. You got to be loud. You're trying to raise money on this. But now you've really done yourself something that's completely idiotic and stupid. Do I think he's the devil? No. Do I think he's this bizarre traitor that has destroyed the earth and world and America as we know it? No. Do I think he's a sleazy human being? Yeah. But it is what it is. But the fact that you would do something like that on your Instagram, and it wasn't her in the crosshairs, it was in the corner of a picture, but it was still just a dumb-ass thing to do. And this is the stuff we talk about, right? Like with, like when we look back at Trump and we talk about a lot of this stuff, it's just, who are you associating yourself with? Now, granted, they've been friends for 40 years, but my God, Jeez, what an idiot. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at me. Do love hearing from each and every single one of you as we move along and plod along each and every day at this time. Rain, sleet, or snow. Vegas, what's going on? Or, of course, anywhere else that maybe be feeling a little bit of the cool. We give you our urban word of the day.
It's time for the urban word of the day, fam.
What? Right now?
Time to get a little more hip on the streets.
I can't understand a word you're saying.
Urban word of the day.
Thank God we're going to talk to Paul, the technical guru, here in a little bit. We're having server issues. What? Thumbing. You ever thumbed? I'm thumbing somebody right now. What's that mean? You're texting. It's a different thing. I'm a swiper, but I can see that. And if you've ever seen me type text, it's really weird because I kind of do it with my middle finger. But thumbing, it's what the kids are using now. They're not texting anymore. They're thumbing. Your urban word of the day.
Thank you for saying that in dated urban slang so that I'll understand you. That there was the urban word of the day. We damn stretched your cranium.
Smollett then drove the brothers home and provided them with a $3,500 personal check made payable to Abel, which was backdated to January 23rd of 2019.
He gave him a third-party out-of-state check, told him to hold it for 2 weeks. Is there a bigger idiot on planet Earth that has tried to mastermind anything? I'm just curious. I'm trying to figure out, have you heard of anything ever as absurd as this? For all of the wackiness that's going on in the world of politics, this is truly bizarre. Sending a letter to yourself and then giving these guys a check. What do you write in the memo? For an attack on me. Don't tell anybody. He's out on bail and out on jail. $100,000 bond, told to give back your passport. Paul Lamone, our tech guru, will be joining the show very soon. Talk about the folding phone. And is there a issue with Nest from Google? Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent in thoughts and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
The Galaxy Fold is a device unlike any that's come before it. With two different screens, it's perfect for any situation. When closed, it fits right in the palm of your hand. So you can send a message to a friend or make a call with one hand while you're on the go.
What? It does look amazing. Joining us now is our tech guru, Paul Lamone. Paul, I got to ask you a question. Now, here you are, like big tech guru. You've worked in just about every kind of industry, from designing the great video games to owning your own companies. And you and I have joked around for years playing with all these phones. We don't always run out and buy the best stuff, and I rarely get excited about stuff. But I saw this yesterday. I thought, man, this looks awesome. Is it awesome?
It's the future in the palm of your hand. It really is. It's where everything's going. Because what it does is it takes your phone and your tablet and consolidates it because of the new bendable screen technology. So it's the first one. It's the first one. So the first one's not going to be as cool as what comes after it. Not quite as, it's a little clunky. There's a little bit of people have noticed a gap between the fold. So the phone doesn't fold perfectly flat when it's closed. So there is a little gap, almost like a triangle there. But it's amazing. It's using really cool technology, a new type of screen, the ability to go from looking at the front of the phone, which has a screen on it. Then when you open that phone, the larger screen, which is twice the size of the phone screen, takes over whatever you were looking at that front screen. So it allows you to almost treat your phone like multiple windows on your desktop.
That looks amazing.
It's a jump in technology. And also, I don't know if it's worth $2,000 because I think it starts at about $1,900.
That's uncomfortable. That makes me uncomfortable.
That's a lot of money for a phone, especially a first-generation phone. But for everybody like me, all the geeks out there that really like to try the brand new things, this really is the first step in how I think our phone and our technology and our pocket-based computers are going to go in the future. foldable technology is where we're headed.
You talk about like the first generation. I said yesterday, because Phil and I were talking about this, and we just were like, both of our jaws hit the thing. Go, I don't know if I can spend $2,000 on a phone. I mean, that's a down payment on a nice car. I mean, that's like paying off credit cards. I mean, the younger generation though. I was talking to the interns and the Hawaiian Cran, one of my producers, and he said, yeah, we're all talking about how we have to have this. And they'll spend $2,000 on that. The thing is, though, it's first generation. And as we all know, first generation usually have bugs and they're not quite as hip and cool. But by the second or third generation, not only have they fixed all that stuff, but the price usually drops. What would be a good price point? Because the thought in this is you're going to, with the new Samsung, what is it called? The Fold, you're going to eliminate potentially you're going to have a phone and a mini computer and a tablet all in one. So even if you pay $1,000, essentially you're getting rid of everything else.
Yes, so it is worth $1,000 easy. Now it's twice as much as it's worth, is what I think. But like you said, as the screen becomes a little more perfected, they can manufacture them easier. Costs will continue to go down. I can see why younger people want it now because it's a very Instagrammable moment to be able to open your phone to show people how cool you are. So it's just kind of like a show-off point. So, but if you don't care about showing off that much, and you're not a geek, and that's not part of what you want to do, I'd say you wait at least one generation before you buy one of these, because there's a lot of potential problems that could be in this brand new technology.
Yeah.
So it's like
absolutely.
you got to have to, and it's a lot of money to spend. It's a lot of money to spend on something that we don't know how many times it can fold yet. That's
I see. That's something to think about. And now is this okay, when you talk about foldable technology, we talked to Paul Lamona, our tech guru here. When you talk about it, what kind of, is it glass? Is it some sort of synthetic glass, plastic material? What is this thing?
It's a new kind of, just like a TV screen. It's a new kind of screen, just like you have on your TV, except for they figured out how to print it on such a thin material, the material is flexible. And that flexible material allows it to fold and bend. And right now at a CES, the Computer Electronics Show, they showed a TV that would roll up like a window shade and roll down, which was a very cool use of this new kind of technology. I don't know why you would really need it, but it was a cool display of how our future is going to be moldable when it comes to screens. Our screens will be able to be molded around things. So this is a good example of folding. The next example is that they've been talking about is your dashboard on your car would be the computer screen. It would just be molded and folded to look like the dash. And it would be the screen by itself. That's a very cool use of this. So like I said, this is our first glimpse of what our futures are going to hold, because everybody's going to start running towards this unless during this test phase, they find out it explodes in your pocket or something horrible like some of their other phones did, which
the kids will get it anyways. Talking to Paul Lamone, our tech guru from WherePlay and many other things. You were at one time big time game designer. When I mean big time, for those of you not keeping score, you were like employee like number 6 or 8 at Blizzard and World of Warcraft, StarCraft, all that stuff that you came up with, Diablo, all those designs and things that you did. And we see what a huge thing Fortnite is. And then lo and behold, we touched on it briefly. This Apex Legends things came out of nowhere. I was always amazed with World of Warcraft because it's still somewhat relevant. It has lasted so much longer. Everything like League of Legends seems to come and go quick, and then all of a sudden we're on to, PUBG, and then PUBG doesn't really do the thing it's supposed to do, even though people like it. Then all of a sudden, boom, out of nowhere is Fortnite. And now out of nowhere comes this Apex Legends. And it is massive, and massive in a way that, like, Fortnite's like, wow, look how fast that went.
It's growing two times faster than Fortnite grew. And it was brilliant in its strategy of how it released. It paid a bunch of these streamers, these people that professionally play games and stream them online every day, to start playing their game all at the same time. So people that watch these very popular, they can have, hundreds of thousands to even, more millions of viewers every week watching these people play these games. People saw how fun it was. People saw that not only did this game replicate a lot of the battle royale that Fortnite created, but it took some of the things people don't like about Fortnite and fixed them. It took away a lot of the building aspects where you have to build buildings and stuff, forts basically, and said, no, we're just going to let you run around in teams with superpowers and fight other teams. And it has been amazing. And it's a little bit more adult, which I think was a very smart move to make. Fortnite's very cartoonish. And, like I said, it's still the same thing. It's free to play. Anybody can download it. You spend your money on buying new skins, new looks for the weapons, and that kind of thing.
Oh, that is so cool. And it's huge. And is it the same thing as far as concept? It's a free giveaway where, and then the in-store purchases, is that what it is, or you have to buy it?
It's a free game again. It's a free game. And what's funny is you're seeing people saying, like, how much does $100 get you if you spend $100 in this game? Well, it's a free game, and people are already wanting to spend over $100, which is almost twice what you would pay for a game at like GameStop or a console game. So that's why it's going to make a ridiculous amount of money. And like I said, it's already growing 2 times faster than Fortnite.
What's the future of like the console games? Because the reality is everybody's going computer. This is more entertaining. The future of console games seems to be dying. At least, I mean, I don't know if that's true or not. I'm sure there's always going to be a space for it. But when you see this, it does boggle the mind. Why would somebody want to go out and buy a console game when you can go download something for free? And at the same time, you've also got you've got a console game where you buy the game and that's it. I mean, there is no, for you, if you're the seller, there is no add-on to it tomorrow as far as like the micro purchases.
Well, there's DLC, there's downloadable content, there's ways for them to do it. But what everybody's looking at in the industry is they're seeing this, and companies like Sony and some big companies are saying the future of gaming consoles are like Netflix. You subscribe to our channel, and there'll be all these games that you can play, and they'll just stream to your console. So you don't have to really go to the store to buy it. You'll just be able to download and play these games, and then they'll monetize it both as a subscription, just like your Netflix subscription, and then with in-game purchases if you want to upgrade and do fancy stuff with your game. Well, that is what things are going, and who wouldn't? Imagine $10, $20 a month, and I could have hundreds of games to choose from.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. That's incredible. Talking to Paul Lamone, our tech guru. All right, got to move here real quick. Let's talk about, first and foremost, Google has their Nest. And while they didn't say it when they should, they did not say it. And that's the way they're kind of playing it off. We always meant to tell you, we forgot there's a bunch of recording devices and microphones in our Nest thing. Oops, but we did not tell you that. We just kind of left it out.
This is when the tinfoil hat goes on because it does sound a little conspiratorial, but there's too many of these examples going around. There was Alexa's when it was recording people's home conversations, and it got caught. There's Google that has, we forgot to tell you guys that we have a listening device that can listen to you inside the things you buy that you're not expecting this. I honestly believe that the companies are going way too far to try and get information about us so they can sell us more products. There's nothing wrong with trying to make a little bit of money, but then there's that extra step of having to know so much about us so they can pinpoint us exactly. Like on Wednesday, you want to have a burger from McDonald's and try and incentivize every little part of our lives. And I honestly believe that this kind of stuff is their secret, maybe not working for everybody, but they're definitely trying out algorithms of listening algorithms, even if it's just 1,000 people at a time, to see how much more info they can get on us and what we like. So I think this is a glimpse behind that mirror. And of course, they're going to cover it up. They're going to say, no, it's just an accident and everything. But I don't think a company, when it goes through all manufacturing process like that, makes complete accidents. Yeah, no, I don't think so either. And it's just, they're weird. I mean, and they're very quiet. Unlike, the Zuckerbergs and the Bezos and all of these other big tech and Silicon Valley gurus, Tesla and all this kind of, you know exactly who they are. Sergey Brin and what's his name, super quiet. You don't really quite always know what's going on with the Alphabet company and Google. And it's just, it feels a little uncomfortable. I got to be honest. Which is smart. They know that, not to do what Facebook did, because Facebook got, in huge trouble for people realizing that they're data mining us. And these giant companies who are doing the exact same thing have said, we're just going to be really quiet about what we do.
Absolutely. Last question. We got only about a minute here. Speaking of data mining, YouTube is just all of these, Facebook and YouTube and all these things. They go out and they use us as their, we're the loss leader for them and for the advertising and the data mining. But in so many weird ways, they have so much more control over us. They want all of our information, but at the same time, they want to tell us what we can and can't do. And YouTube right now is like picking and choosing little certain things. They're squashing conservatives no matter what they say. We're not idiots. Come on. Let's not, you're telling us you're not doing it by showing the data you're producing for yourself. And at the same time, maybe not really watching over what's going on, especially with the younger generation and kids.
Well, there's a few things, they're changing their algorithm a lot to try and stop what they're calling fake news. And of course, they're becoming the determination factor of what they consider as fake and not fake. So what they're really changing their algorithms to do is to stop things they don't agree with. But the sad thing is just like a couple days ago, Walt Disney and Nestle pulled their ads from YouTube because there was a blogger that put out like about a 20-minute video showing how YouTube videos are being linked to pedophile rings. And YouTube hasn't cared about it. They've allowed this to happen for years now. That didn't matter. But if you had a politically different type of comment, they were cutting you down, demonetizing you, doing all kinds of things. But until they were called out, it wasn't a priority to say, look, there are these videos on YouTube, and if you look through the comments are linking back and forth to all kinds of child porn, to all kinds of horrible, horrible things, and you've let it go on unchecked. So now that Disney's pulled thing and Nestle's pulled stuff, they are hopefully going to start not just changing their algorithm to stop people that have conservative bents and stop people that because they're calling them, conspiracy videos, but to also stop people that are actually doing things that are horrible and need to be stopped. And that's what I'm hoping that YouTube will start concentrating on, not just going after people they disagree with, which is what they've done a lot.
Very, very, yeah. And they can pretend that they haven't. We know they have. Paul Lamone, our tech guru there. As always, brother, I appreciate you coming on today and discussing everything, and we will talk to you next week.
Thank you. Talk to you later. Bye.
Thanks. At Chad Benson Show, Twitter, ChadBenson, Chad Benson Show.
Experiencing separation anxiety? That's dumb. Check out Chad 24/7 at his website, ChadBensonShow.com, and on iTunes, free. The Chad Benson Show. Never feel lonely again.
At the center of the alleged fake attack, two brothers. Both worked on the TV show Empire. Risa Lanier with the Cook County State's Attorney's Office says one of the men provided Jussie Smollett with designer drugs.
Since the spring of 2018 and on several occasions, defendant Smollett requested Abel to provide him with Molly, which is street name for the narcotic ecstasy.
Investigators say after the attack, they were able to use cameras, rideshare records, and phone records to track the men's movement right before and after the attack.
Yeah, you know where this is going, right? Like you guys all understand where this is headed. This is headed to a place we like to call rehab, where you can go, and because he's got a problem, apparently it's an untreated drug problem that he has had, and because of the untreated drug problem, everything is going to come and it is all going to come up that it was this out of desperation that this happened, and he's got a drug problem. And he may very well have a drug problem. I don't know. I don't know him. What I do know is that this is not what a normal person does. This right here, this thing is not what a normal person does. So we'll see. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Michael Cohen is going to testify next week, and he's going to bring, he's going to give, this is what this is going to be. He's done. He's going to jail. He's not going till May now. So he's going to testify next week, and he's going to do it in public. And it is all going to have to do with how much can I embarrass, weaken, and peel a layer of onion that really has nothing to do with the president, but all I think has to do more so with Donald Trump, the playboy, the billionaire, all of that stuff. And it's going to be a show. It is going to be an absolute show. Trump will be out of the country. He'll be in Vietnam. It's one of the reasons a lot of people think that while it's as early as next week, the Mueller report could come in. The reality is it's probably may not until Trump gets back. I don't know. Maybe Trump wants to be out of the country when it arrives. We shall see. But you watch what happens next week, the craziness of all of this stuff. And it ramp up and salaciousness. I mean, we're obsessed with it. I mean, there's a reason TMZ and reality show are crushing it because we eat it up. If we wanted hard news, right? That's all we wanted. We wouldn't be watching the things we watch. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You could tweet at me. I have to be honest with you. If you ask me what I watch, I tell you old westerns, and I watch kung fu movies. I watched a cool kung fu movie last night called The Revenger. It's totally Shaw Brothers, like 1973. Oh, man. I got to get a life. Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent in thoughts and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
During the Good Morning America interview, Smollett stated, and it feels like if I had said I was a Muslim or a Mexican or someone black, I feel like the doubters would have supported me much more, a lot more. These statements by Smollett further misled the police and the public to believe his attackers were white.
Yeah, he's out on jail, not on bail. $100,000 bail. He had to surrender his passport, and the question still remains, why? Why? But the more that this starts to unravel, to realize that he's going to use the drug defense. I just want everybody to understand that that is one of the things that's coming. We said it earlier. Which was the over-under of how fast he's in some sort of drug rehab.
Since the spring of 2018 and on several occasions, defendant Smollett requested Able to provide him with Molly, which is street name for the narcotic ecstasy.
That's Risa Lanier right there, is telling everybody what's going on as she reads all of this stuff. And it's very interesting. Just the way that not only he misled, but just the way that this thing breaks down. He apparently was unhappy with $20,000 an episode. And I've had a lot of people say, oh, my God, that's a lot of money. Not in Hollywood. Not in Hollywood. $20,000 an episode. It sounds great if you're making nothing. If you're an average person, $20,000 a month's great. But you got to figure between taxes, between your 10 to 20% you're paying your agent and your manager, because you can't just have one, right? All of a sudden, you look up, a lot of that's gone. You're frustrated. You're seeing Tasha B. Henson and several other people making 5, 6, 8, 10 times what you're making. And you've got a pretty decent-sized role. Yeah, the frustration may be there. But it was so poorly planned. He is not a genius. That we know. Listen to this.
Smollett stated that he wanted them to appear to attack him on the evening of January 28, 2019, near his apartment building in Streeterville. Defendant Smollett also stated he wanted the brothers to catch his attention by calling him an Empire F, Empire N.
So not only do I want you to attack me, right? Like, not only so here's what you do. You attack me, but then you also use the show I'm on. Huh? Wait, what? Yeah, use the show I'm on. Are you serious? Yeah. I want you to use the show I'm on. But like, really? Yeah. Use that, because that'll be perfect. That'll be perfect. So use the show I'm on, and man, that'll be awesome. That'll be just fantastic. That's what he did. I don't get it. And then if you're going to do all of that, right? So you've already started down the road of really bad ideas, like horribly bad ideas. Like, this is not well thought out at all. You've already started down that road. So between your electronic trail that you're leaving, the cameras everywhere, which you wanted to use to catch you in this, which was hilarious because of all the cameras in Chicago, and there are plenty of them. The one camera he wanted to make sure that everybody saw him being attacked at is the one camera that he was facing in the other direction. So for all of that stuff, so you're starting to put all this stuff together, then you come up with the brilliant idea.
Smollett then drove the brothers home and provided them with a $3,500 personal check made payable to Abel, which was backdated to January 23rd of 2019.
Because that's a solid thing you do right there. So you have all of this other thing, and then you go, hey, I got a great idea now. I'm going to write him a check. Hey, if you guys could hold on to that for a couple days, that'd be great. Just poorly planned, and I look at this, and it's a horrible situation. Not from him. Maybe he has a drug problem, maybe he doesn't. At this point in time, the way the media handled everything, and remember, the media was they went nuts. Let's remember that.
His attackers hurled racial and homophobic slurs.
2 people yelled racist and homophobic slurs.
Not only homophobia, we're talking about racism. We're talking about hate with steroids.
They are looking for 2 suspects who were apparently wearing Make America Great Again hats.
The offenders uttered, "This is MAGA country."
This is a horrible story. This is a horrible story.
Yeah.
And this is America in 2019.
So let's remember all of those things, right? But what does it do for the LGBTQ community? What does it do for the people of color, African American community in particular? Not to mention that you just said, hey, I'm going to throw this out there that everybody who is a Trump supporter, you guys are all evil because this is Trump's 2019. They say, what do you do? Right? Like because there are going to be incidents that are real because it's the boy that cried wolf so many times. I was talking to my producer earlier. I said, have you seen Jaws? And he's younger. He said, yeah, I've seen Jaws. Do you remember the part where they've got the spotters, they've got all of this stuff. Everybody's on a heightened awareness of something. And then those kids play that trick with the fake fin. But really, Jaws swims over into the little area, the little pond there. And then by the time it realizes something's happened, it's too late. And that's the sad thing, is now people are going to be afraid to come forward, and every time they do, it's going to be extremely discounted, which it shouldn't be. You should take everything seriously, but you should also do your due diligence. That's the beauty of the world that we live in, is if you do your due diligence and stuff. I know the want to be first is far more important anymore than the want to be right. But there's a reason we have due process and things like this. We need to find out all the things that happen. Sad. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at me. Do love hearing from you. With all of that going on, we're getting closer and closer to that day. The day of which we shall find out, is he evil? Is he bad? Will he be impeached? What will be there? Oh, my Lord. Yes, the report. Now, I don't know when the report is coming out from Mueller. And I also don't know whether or not we're actually going to see the report at all, because that's the new AG Barr's decision.
And I don't think we're going to see it. I think Trump realized he made a mistake with Jeff Sessions, and I think he found somebody that he could that he would know on the front end that would take care of him. And I think that's what he's got. Unless I'm wrong, and Bill Barr wants to continue to have a good reputation, I think Bill Barr is President Trump's man, and his reputation is going to be sullied, because I think he's going to try to stymie the American public and the Congress from knowing what's in that report.
That's Rep. Steve Cohen right there. He doesn't trust Barr at all, thinks he's going to hide it. On the other side, though, you've got people out there, and people I've talked to said, this guy's he's above board, as real and as straight shooter as you're going to find, and he doesn't need this job at all. He's already done this job. And Trump isn't going to do anything that is going to intimidate him.
he's in a very difficult position, Mr. Trump, right now, because he can't afford to try to intimidate Barr. And Barr, for those of us who have followed Barr over the years, it would seem that he is not going to take a bullet for Donald Trump to save Donald Trump's reputation. And I can't imagine he's not going to play this thing pretty straight. And in his testimony, he does say that he wants to make public what the regulations allow him to make public.
Carl Bernstein right there. You know what? I think there is going to be some of it that's released. But if you think that it's going to be released on a Thursday and by Thursday evening, the smoking gun will be out and then it's over, it's done with, and the proceedings will start, the impeachment, all of this stuff, you're wrong. I think what we're going to get is a smattering of information that we can see that will be redacted in certain areas, and it's going to be a lot left up to people's imaginations, and those imaginations and their minds are already made up. You either think he is or you think he isn't, and that's probably not going to change. And I don't know if there's going to be any more indictments, but there's definitely going to be some more people out there looking at certain things, because as far as other investigations go, which is all this is going to be from now until he is no longer president.
It looks like Mueller time is almost here, especially looking into everything from the Trump campaign, how he won the White House, the Trump transition, what he did while taking over the White House, the Trump inauguration, who paid and why and where the money went for the party before the White House, and the Trump administration, what he's done since getting into the White House. Investigations are even digging into the Trump Foundation, including the purchase of massive portraits of the Donald. Now it's being looked at for possible campaign violations as well. The Trump Organization. And investigations into this could potentially scoop up members of the Trump family. And then, of course, there's the special counsel investigation, the big kahuna. So even if we see the special counsel's report very soon, trouble in Trumpland could be just beginning.
Yeah, but that's part of the sensationalism of the business side of making sure it's show business and news business. You got to get people sucked into something like this. I'm going to let it play itself out. Quite frankly, people ask me all the time, isn't this great for your business? I said, maybe for other people because they have nothing else to talk about. I like to talk about a lot of other stuff that we should be talking about. How amazing our country is, how we're moving in the right direction. When people say he's destroying us, I say, shut your pie hole. He's not destroying us. If one man can destroy our country, then we don't deserve to be around. It's that simple. And I have news for you. People out there who love Trump, people out there who hate Trump. He plays a very little role in my life outside of some of this crap. How much does he affect your life? Honestly, how much does Trump truly affect your life? Probably not a ton. It's talking points, it's stuff like that. But the reality is, it's on a day-to-day basis, your life is not affected by Trump. There's no trophies. There's no win-loss. There's none of that stuff. None of it. It's just stuff to talk about for people, right? I want to talk about real stuff, like the Olympics.
Organizers of the 2024 Paris Olympics want breakdancing to become a medal event at the Games. The final decision will be made by the IOC after the 2020 Tokyo Games. But simply being proposed is being hailed by breakers as a milestone that will boost their global footprint and its acceptance as a real competitive sport.
Yeah, so I'm excited about the potential for breakdance. I found out it's breakdancing. I thought maybe we were going to get a little popping and locking because I was more of a popper and locker. Found out Phil did both. We both did both. You were probably much better at the spinning than I was. I was never really good at it, and I couldn't do the spinning on my head. I just thought I'm going to end up, hurting myself far more. But I asked a question today. If you could see one sport, like you say, okay, what sport would out there? Something real, right? Not goof around. Esports, cheer or dance, MMA or parkour. Because you got skateboarding in the next one, right? They've got surfing. They've added a few different things. Parkour, I guess, is trying to resist. They've got sports climbing in this one as well, but parkour is trying to resist it. But esports got 7%. Cheer or dance got 19%. MMA, 41%, and parkour, 33%. I think MMA could do it. The thing with MMA is it's just too bloody, right? It's just too bloody. Now, of course, this comes from the fact that they used to do the Olympics naked, but still, it's very bloody. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. Twitter. You can tweet at us. Do love hearing from each and every single one of you. She was a bride of ISIS. Should she be allowed to come back here to America? Chad Benson Show.
Set Chad straight. Text the show, 323-538-2423. That's 323-538-CHAD. Someone has to do it. Might as well be you. The Chad Benson Show.
Hoda Muthana is not a U.S. citizen and will not be admitted into the country, according to Secretary of State Mike Pompeo. Muthana left Alabama 4 years ago to join ISIS and now wants to return home. Her lawyer said she's ready to face justice. Currently, she's at a refugee camp in eastern Syria, and her lawyer responded to the State Department's claim, saying, quote, the Trump administration continues to attempt to wrongfully strip citizens of their citizenship, adding that she does have a valid U.S. passport and is a citizen as she was born in New Jersey, 4 months after her father stopped being a Yemeni diplomat at the United Nations.
But you left. By the way, we're not the only ones. Britain and everybody else saying, we don't want you guys back. You guys left, right? You were seduced by ISIS. You went over there, and this is the price you pay. I have no problem with that. If you wanted to go over there, you were seduced. You knew exactly what you were getting yourself in. You may not have known what it was really going to be like, because a lot of times you think, oh, I got this. You don't have this. But you knew who ISIS was. You knew what they were about. You did. So I don't have a problem with this. She was asked about Islam itself.
Do you feel regret and sorrow and remorse for being part of an organization like ISIS?
Definitely. It's not Islamic at all. I believe that 100%.
Yeah, she said, she was married, I think, 3 times, and the way they portray her, so she's a single mom. It's like, you know what? You made a choice. We make choices in life. I have news for you. I knew at 20 the mob was bad. Right? And I didn't have internet to find out everything about the mob. Everybody knew ISIS was bad. You know that. You've seen the things. You've read about it. Maybe you've heard. Your father is from that region. He's Yemenis. I don't feel bad. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. It's funny, I asked a question earlier about what you would like to see in the Olympics if breakdancing is put in the Olympics. Texter writes in, I could see a case for MMA and parkour in the Olympics, but breakdancing, question mark? I mean, I was rocking the parachute pants back in the 80s, just like I'm sure you were, but it doesn't belong in the Olympics unless Grandmaster Flash is the commentator. That'd be great. Yeah, I did. I super rocked them and the zippy pants, right? I had it all. Kids. I mean, I did. I can still do the worm, and I could still do some popping. In fact, I was doing some earlier in the lobby, and some of the guys from the sports station, they just looked over at me in this kind of sad situation where I think they thought I was an okay dude, and they just kind of put their heads down and shook it. But it's okay, because I felt good, because I know that I too could have starred in Breakin' 2, Electric Boogaloo. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Chad Benson Show.
Independent in thoughts and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
The American public has paid for the special counsel's work and for the report, and the American public deserves to see the product of what they paid for. The American public deserves to know whether or not their president is a crook, as Richard Nixon said he wasn't, and he was. And the American public needs to see it for themselves.
Yeah, we do. And I want to see it. I want to see it. A lot of people think that, and that right there is Rep. Steve Cohen, who doesn't trust Barr, right? Doesn't trust AG Barr, new AG Barr, thinks that he's going to hide everything. And I don't know. I mean, all the things I've heard about Barr, the things I've read, remember, he's done this gig before. He doesn't need this gig, right? He's done this. Other people have said, hey, you know what? You need to slow your roll. This guy, he's not going to sit there and say, oh, okay, well, anything you want, sir, I'll do. That's not who this guy is. It's not. And I don't think that he's going to do that. In saying that, I don't think we're going to get a ton of stuff. I don't think we're going to get, here's everything in there, make your mind up. I just don't think. Because in the end, this is about, does he stay or does he go, the president?
But this is a president of the United States whose election is 2 years away. If he has committed offenses that would and engaged in conduct that the Congress would feel is high crimes and misdemeanors and worthy of impeachment, the Congress needs to see it. Well, if you can't indict the president, but he commits high crimes and misdemeanors, the Founding Fathers said the remedy for that was impeachment. The remedy for actions that might not be criminal per se, but are injurious to the government functioning in the way it's supposed to, with an executive who's doing his job on behalf of the American people, is impeachment. And if you have information that would lead a reasonable person to think that the president should be impeached, Bill Barr has a duty to turn that over to Congress.
Yeah. And I think he will. I do. I think he will. A lot of people think, oh, this Barr guy is just going to, no. This is Carl Bernstein, not of the Bernstein Bears, by the way, talking about Barr.
He's in a very difficult position, Mr. Trump, right now, because he can't afford to try to intimidate Barr. And Barr, for those of us who have followed Barr over the years, it would seem that he is not going to take a bullet for Donald Trump to save Donald Trump's reputation. And I can't imagine he's not going to play this thing pretty straight. And in his testimony, he does say that he wants to make public what the regulations allow him to make public.
Yeah, and that's something else that there should be, is an understanding that there's only so much that we're going to learn. Because everything is, no matter how much they try to, we're going to release all this stuff, then what do you get? You get stuff that's redacted. So I don't know how much. I think there's going to be gray area. I think the biggest indication is if Kushner and Don Jr., the closer the indictments get to the president by people who've known him for a long time, not people that came on the scene while he was thinking about running or was running, the closer that gets to the point where you start to see people getting popped, then there are issues where you say, but I don't see that. I don't hear anything of Kushner or Don Jr. as this thing looks like it's starting to wrap itself up. Doesn't mean it's over. There still could be some other stuff. I'm just saying, I don't see it. I'm not hearing about it. And let's all be honest too about what we're talking about. We're talking about Washington. We're talking about people who can't keep their mouth shut. We're talking about the fact that they leak more than the skies over Washington State. So I would have thought at some point in time we'd really start to hear some stuff, because every time they say so-and-so is going to get indicted, it happens. Haven't heard a lot about that. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Most sinful states, according to Wallet Hub. What kind of sin are we talking about? We're talking about anger and hatred. We're talking about jealousy. We're talking about excess vices, greed, lust, vanity, and lazy. Leading the states when you tabulate all of these. So you put it in the tabulation machine. Number 5 is Tennessee. So we're going to do it 5-1. Tennessee scores a rank of 52.42. Anger and hatred, Tennessee is number 1. Texas comes in at number 4, 53.32. Their big thing is, are you ready for this, guys? Texas likes to do it big in lust. California, you're the most sinful state in numeros 3. Trace. Your big thing is lust, too. You come in number 2 there, but vanity 3. So you rank Very nice. Florida in at number 2, 56.06. Number one thing for them, jealousy. And number one, as far as sinful states, that's a sin, Chad. It's just a sinner. It's what you guys all are, sinners. Nevada. Shocker, I know, but not what you think, right? Anger and hatred, 26. Jealousy, 3. Right? They do really well. They're in the top, 10 for a lot of these. Excess vices, how about that? Number 4 there. Greed, number 1. Lust, number 6. Vanity, only 20. And laziness, 5. 5. We're right down to the least sinful states. You've got Idaho, Nebraska, North Dakota, Maine, and Vermont. Vermont doesn't really do it. It's Vermont. It's got Bernie Sanders, for God's sakes. How bad can they be? It's Vermont. So let's talk about anger and hate. Alaska, New Mexico, Tennessee tied for number 1 for most violent crimes per capita. Other side, New Hampshire, Vermont, and Maine, all in the bottom 3. Most thefts, New Mexico, Alaska, Louisiana. Guess what? Massachusetts, Vermont, New Hampshire, down at the bottom again. Excess drinking. Wisconsin, number 1. Oh, yeah, you betcha. You know for sure. Utah, the bottom there. They're doing well. They're not excess drinking. Gambling. Nevada only comes in at 5, you would think. Mississippi is number 1. Michigan's down at the bottom there. It's because their sports teams are awful. Not a lot to gamble on, right? Now, here's one for you. Highest average time spent on adult entertainment sites. Mississippi's number 1. Rhode Island's down at the bottom. Adult sites. Mississippi. What are you guys doing over there? What are you... MISSISSIPP. Ooh, we said PP. Oh, my God. How about this? New York, Florida, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and California, top 5 for most beauty salons per capita. Hence the reason why they're up there, because in certain areas, it matters. It does, what you look like. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. If you didn't hear about it yesterday, this was insane, and it's not getting the pub because the Smollett thing is sucking the oxygen out of the room, and then you couple that with what's going on with the Mueller report and the potential, big, giant, huge nuclear political bomb that thing could be coming out soon. But a Coast Guard lieutenant was ready to try to destroy the world.
Authorities say Christopher Paul Hassan of Maryland was planning a cold-blooded killing spree. His arsenal, including handguns and sniper rifles, along with ammunition. The white nationalist allegedly writing he is, quote, dreaming of a way to kill almost every last person on Earth.
Yeah. Not just, he wanted to start with prominent Democrats and prominent like CNN, MSNBC, news opinion heads that he could go after. He did. That's what he wanted to do. And then the rest of it was, how can I destroy the earth?
According to the FBI, Hassan created an Excel sheet of possible targets, including notable politicians like Speaker Nancy Pelosi, Senate Minority Leader Charles Schumer, and Senator Kamala Harris. Hassan's chilling Google searches consisting of questions like most liberal senators and where do most senators live in D.C.? Do senators have Secret Service protection? And are Supreme Court justices protected?
Yeah. It was disturbing. He was on human growth hormones because apparently he wanted to make sure that he had enough strength to get through this. And then he also had tramadol, which will hide some of that so you could have synthetic urine. So if it was a random drug test, you could pass it. This guy, and he had an arsenal. He wanted to go pro in this. This was scary, 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 scary stuff. And they caught him. And, we only hear about the things that happen. Very rarely does any of the other stuff that happens get anything more than a quick blurb, maybe on the local news or on like ABC, NBC, CBS, and a few other the outlets, very rarely do we get like anything other than that because it doesn't happen. But this guy, man, he was loaded for bear. He was ready. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. If you haven't heard, this guy.
Who the would make something like this up or add something to it or whatever it may be? I can't even, I'm an advocate.
You are an advocate. Maybe, but you know what else you are? You're a liar, and now you're going to face the music. Jussie Smollett of Empire, upset apparently because he didn't like his salary. I think Tasha B. Henson was making like $150,000. A few other people a week or per episode. They do about 20 episodes a season, and he was only getting $20,000 an episode. And apparently he was upset about that. In the old days, right? Like I would go to my agent and say, is there anything else we can do that would raise my profile where I can get more money, or can we expand myself here on the program so I can get money per episode? And at no time has any of my agents ever said to me, Chad, I've got a great idea. You're going to want to get a pen and a piece of paper. You're going to love this one. I want you to fake like you've been attacked, then beat yourself up, then do something crazy like, oh, here's a noose. But before you do any of that, send something to yourself, and then that profile will raise. It's a solid plan. And by the way, if you're going to do all of this, make sure the person that you're paying or persons that you're paying, you pay them in check form. So there's a good paper trail. Yeah, this guy's got some serious issues. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at me, my pillow. I got my Go Anywhere pillow because I am traveling a lot. In fact, I will not be home for like another week plus. And then I'm only home for like 2 or 3 days, and then I'm gone for another week. So I've got my Go Anywhere pillow, which just helps me tremendously. Jack has his pillow. All my families have theirs. You've got to get yours. My pillow is incredible. Right now, the deal is amazing. You've got nothing to lose. Money back guarantee. Get it now up until March. It's your time. You've got nothing to lose. Jump on this. 4 pillows, 2 premium pillows, 2 Go Anywhere pillows, half the price, free shipping. And again, money back guarantee till March. Get on this now. 100% machine washable and dryable, made in the USA, backed by a 10-year warranty. How do you get it? 800-944-4975 or go to mypillow.com. Use promo code Benson. 4 pillows, 2 premium, 2 Go Anywhere. You're going to sleep like you've never slept. Put your skepticism to the test, and now's your chance. Money back guarantee. 800-944-4975.
Chad Benson Show, where we make no apologies, although we do say a few Hail Marys and Our Fathers now and then. Amen.
HBO being sued by Michael Jackson's estate for $100 million over the upcoming Jackson documentary, Leaving Neverland, in which 2 men claim Jackson molested them when they were boys.
I love you. Goodbye.
Jackson's estate says that HBO ran a Jackson concert in 1992, and part of that agreement included a non-disparagement clause, and the doc violates that. HBO says, lawsuit or not, they still plan to air Leaving Neverland March 3rd, and that everyone should see the film and the claims in it and come to their own conclusions.
I have seen the trailer for it, and I got to be honest with you. We've always known, right? And for whatever reason, maybe it's because he's dead and he died before social media exploded the way that it. I couldn't tell you, but for whatever reason, he's kind of got a pass, Michael Jackson, comparatively to so many other people who have been. I mean, we're not talking about he inappropriately touched a adult woman or Kevin Spacey. I mean, we're talking about child molestation in arguably the biggest star in the last umpteen years up until his death. And just totally like a pass. It's so weird. And I've seen the trailer, and 2 sides to every story. but it's uncomfortable. It is an uncomfortable thing. And if I said, hey, if somebody comes to me and says, as a grown man, I want Jack to come hang out at my house, right? And you can't be around, I'm going to say no, right? Like, that's big negative, Ghost Rider. So I also look at these parents and think, what part did you play in that? But he's Peter Pan. Well, Peter Pan's a molester, allegedly. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Chad, you're such a jerk. 50 Cent.
On The Late Late Show, while sitting next to Democratic presidential hopeful Elizabeth Warren, media mogul 50 Cent talked about how he could have added a little more money to his name thanks to one Donald Trump.
They offered you a $500,000 spot to play at the inauguration.
No, just to come.
Just to be there. Just to turn up.
Wow.
And your response was?
I didn't do it because I didn't know if I could fix the damage. All money is not good money. You got to be careful what you're doing publicly because I don't know how you fix that thing. Like, I just was like, whoa. Don't bring me to fix the African-American.
Oh, 50 Cent. 50's an interesting character. 50 Cent. So $500,000, and he said no. That's some stuff right there. I don't know. I might have gone for $500,000. I might have showed up. Hey, you want to pay me $500,000 to show up? You can. Here I come. Here I come.
Two sons of Joaquin El Chapo Guzman appear to be following in the footsteps of their convicted father. The brothers were charged in a 10-year conspiracy to smuggle illegal drugs into the United States. The brothers are believed to be in Mexico and are not in custody. But federal agents said the case against their father proved the long arm of American law.
Yeah. And by the way, his family, his kids have been not very shy about hiding their wealth. Some of them are like on Instagram, and they are putting it out there. So they're living it up, and it sounds like they are continuing in the footsteps. There's just one. Like, he's got one kid, and all that kid wants to do is, like, be an actuary and doesn't want anything to do with their family. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Love hearing from everybody. Try to get back to you as many as possible. It's the Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent in thoughts and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
I have total confidence in Director Mueller and the team he's put together. I think the work they've done to date has been extraordinary. Just watching it, as we all do, from the information that becomes public. I will have complete faith in the conclusions that they draw. I think those conclusions should be shared with the American public in the absolute broadest way possible.
Let me ask you something about
share them. That's Andrew McCabe, and as we all know, as I was talking to somebody last night about him, so he's got the new book out in the whole 9 yards, and they're like, we've got to listen to what they have to say. And I'm in agreement. I want the Mueller report to come to an end. Let's put this thing behind us and sort it all out so we can move past this national insanity of Trump and the media and the craziness, right? At least as best as possible. But as I'm talking to somebody about this, I'm like, do you believe McCabe? And they're like, yeah. Okay, so you believe McCabe? But the FBI says he's a liar. So do you believe the FBI? Well, yeah. I said, so you believe both of them, that they're both telling the truth, even though one's saying that they're a liar about certain things, and that you can believe this guy, but you can't believe this guy. And it's a tough position to be in if you're a person who is open to the idea that maybe something happened or didn't happen when it comes to, the Russia and this, that, and the other, because the reality is, in this day and age, we don't care. We don't. We've already made up our minds. The Mueller report is just it will just ramp up the arguments. I don't think it's going to solve anything. I don't think it solves a single thing. I think it's going to be a lot of redacted stuff, a lot of gray area. There's not going to be a smoking gun. Obviously, he's not going to be indicted. The leaking that we normally get about who's next to be indicted, it's been pretty spot on. Well, we're not hearing about anything other than that. And so it's hard to say that it's going to solve anything, because I don't think there's going to be enough out there that we're going to see that's going to make us go, oh, he didn't do anything, or, oh, look at that smoking gun. It'll leave you just enough to go, I told you so. But not enough to go, see, I told you so. And I think that will be frustrating for a lot of people out there. McCabe, though, again, he's selling a book. When you're selling a book, right, you got to get out there and do stuff. It's like Jussie Smollett. Like when you're looking for a raise, you can't just go out there and go, hey, I think I'm going to leak that I'm very upset with Empire and Fox and the way that they're treating me. My salary is definitely for the size of role that I'm playing in Empire. I'm not getting enough. 20,000 isn't enough. So, you got to get out there and do something. And that's what McCabe's doing, in the sense that he's getting out there and he's shaking as many trees as possible, because he's got to sell books. I'm sure he got a nice advance, and he's going to need it to pay for all the legal bills.
You compare Trump to a Russian mob boss, and that's something you know something about. You spent part of your career investigating the Russian mob.
I did.
You say, quote, he worked you over the way a criminal brigade would operate.
Yeah.
Tell me the similarities, because we think he's a little bit more Don Corleone, frankly.
You know what always amazes me is the same people that say he's the dumbest human being on earth also accuse him of being the most incredible mastermind. Like, he's the dumbest person I've ever seen in my life, but he's brilliant, and he's able to mastermind fooling the American people. Fooling the American people. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't. I do know that in the next, I would say 2 weeks, we are going to get a report. How much of that will be made public? That is going to be very interesting. I don't know if we're going to get a ton of it made public, and the stuff that we are going to get made public may be disappointing to a lot of people out there. And like I say, and I continue to do so, I just feel like it's going to be, from what I'm hearing, and my sense is there's going to be a lot of gray area. So both sides will be able to say we've won something with nothing really being decided. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us.
Breaking news. Empire actor Jussie Smollett is now in custody in Chicago. He is facing a felony charge for allegedly filing a false police report claiming that two men attacked him in a hate crime last month.
Police sources tell CNN that Smollett paid the two men to orchestrate the attack.
He turned himself in. I'm told from sources that he will have to talk to detectives first before being brought to this courthouse. What a strange ending to this entire story.
Yeah, strange ending. He paid in a check. And remember how angry he was on several outlets like Good Morning America.
I'm pissed off.
What is it that has you so angry? Is it the attackers?
It's the attackers, but it's also the attacks.
Why? Did they not attack you the way that you orchestrated it? It's like they totally went off script. They're not very good at this. They're not. They're not good at what I paid them in a check. $3,500, man. I gotta be honest. That's not enough for me to commit. Like, you gotta have a price, right? There's gotta be some sort of price. And theirs was $3,500. I don't know if they're splitting it. They're like, all right, here's the deal. We'll each take $1,500 and they'll put $500 away for taxes. All right, we could do that. Who are you going to make the check out to? $3,500, man. That's like, that's just, Chicago police held a press conference today, and they were not happy.
This announcement today recognizes that Empire actor Jussie Smollett took advantage of the pain and anger of racism to promote his career.
Yeah, pissed because of his salary. He makes $20,000 an episode. For the role that he's got on a show that big, it's not a lot. I mean, for the average person, $20,000 a month is like, that's amazing. $20,000 a week. Well, you're doing 20 episodes, right? You're making good money. You would think. Management, taxes, agent. You'd be surprised. I've got a friend who's an actor. A couple years ago, he made like $600,000. After everything was said and done, he walked with like $200,000. And living in California, it wasn't all it was cracked up to be. So he thought, I got to go, Smollett thought, I have to go do this. I have to raise my profile. And for whatever reason, he thought not only would he do this, he would then take a symbol that is synonymous with hate and evil, in particular in this country, and use it to further his career, which is just absolutely mind-boggling.
How could someone look at the hatred and suffering associated with that symbol and see an opportunity to manipulate that symbol to further his own public profile?
I don't know. Does he have something wrong? Is he mentally unstable? Here's something else. Here's Phil. Over under 2 weeks before he checks him into some sort of rehab.
Under,
yeah. That's what you do nowadays. Check yourself into rehab. That's how you do it. But the way that he came out and he attacked everybody, and then of course the virtue signaling of so many people in the media who ran to him and said, this is awful, this is horrible, this is Trump's America. Remember, this is Trump's America. And these guys wore red hats. Maybe they were MAGA hats. Maybe they weren't. They yelled, this is Trump's America, and this is what Trump has built. And I even had people last night tweeting at me saying what he did was awful. He should be held accountable. But this is Trump's America, and this is happening all the time. No, it's not happening all the time. It's not happening all the time. And the media has a lot of explaining to do because, like the Covington and many other things, they ran to something without doing their due diligence, without thinking to themselves, there's a deep freeze going on in Chicago. It's early in the morning to the point where it's still late at night. This guy was targeted. I mean, you heard other people, and I think it was a leader, an activist in Los Angeles who is a big LGBT and activist and definitely somebody who said, I'm from Chicago, and I knew right away that didn't happen that way. But the media ran to it, and they virtue signal because that's what you have to do, rather than say, let's find out all the facts on this. And then they got deep into it. And of course, at that point in time, much like we've talked about, especially particularly this week, is the media is also a business, right? And because of that, you've got to make sure that you sell. So you couldn't turn down an interview with him. You couldn't. I mean, if he would have came to me and said, you want to be on the show? I'd said, hell yeah, let's put him on the show. But I think I would add some other questions going, can you find out, can I tell you why I think you're full of crap? Because all the cameras, that was the other thing. Apparently, there are so many cameras in that area, but the area where they quote unquote staged the whole thing, the camera was faced the other direction. So not only is he not being truthful, he's also a bad director. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us, and it's for me and the human inside of me that wants to put the puzzle together. And I know you're pissed about your salary and that you thought your profile should be higher and you should be making, other people on that show are making 5-6 times as much as you are. But my question is, how did you think that this was going to help you? Like, did you think of this? Were you drunk and you thought of this in 5 minutes? But how did you think that this was going to help you in any way, shape, or form? That's crazy.
Spectators were already in line hours before Roger Stone learns what the judge has in store for him. He was summoned before Judge Amy Berman Jackson following his Instagram post of the judge's face with a crosshairs in the upper corner and words of criticism. The judge said Stone must explain why she shouldn't revoke his bail or make an existing gag order more strict.
Yeah. And his gag order right now, Roger Stone, we had him on a couple weeks ago. I don't think he's a weasel. He's a dirty weasel. Do I think the lying is not a good thing? Do I think he should be in jail because of it? No, I don't think he will. But his gag order right now is basically in D.C. He can't talk in D.C. He can go out and he can talk to us. He can talk elsewhere. But in D.C., he can't be out there talking about all of this stuff. I don't know if he's going to go to jail or not. I don't think so. But him putting that up was just the dumbest thing in the world. Good God. Just, what are you thinking? Again, back to what in God's name are you thinking? 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Breakdancing may be in the Olympics. We're asking you the question, what would you like to see in the Olympics sport-wise? Breakdancing, maybe BMX or skateboarding. Is that in the Olympics yet, or has it been? I'm not quite sure, because I know stuff comes and goes, but that would be something I could see in there. I said parkour. If you don't know what parkour is, Google it. It's insane. That would be kind of interesting. Maybe even cheerleading or that kind of stuff, competitive dance. I mean, look. You got to make it younger. YouTubing, video games, put it all in there. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Hey, costly repairs, don't worry about them. CarShield has your back. I was going to say I got your back, but I don't, because I can't fix anything. That's why I got CarShield. Something goes wrong with my car. I'm not a mechanic and I don't have a warranty, but you know what? I do have CarShield, and I know they have my back. I pay a small deductible. They handle the rest. They allow me to take my car to wherever it is that I want to take it to get it fixed. I could take it back to the dealership where I got the car, or to my favorite mechanic. They'll get it handled right there. On top of that, while my car is getting repaired, I get a rental car from them for free. And oh, by the way, I also have 24/7 roadside assistance. So do what I did. Get CarShield. It's simple and easy. Go to carshield.com. Check out all the plans they have. They got all these things there. You go through and say, okay, which one do I want? What kind of protection do I want? What do I think I need? You'll get the right one for you, and then use my code Benson. That'll save you 10%, or call 800-CAR-6100. Mention code Benson, or carshield.com. Carshield.com. Code Benson saves you 10%. A deductible may apply. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Feel free to punk this punk rocker any time of the day or night. Reach Chad on Twitter at Chad Benson Show and on Instagram at Chad Benson Show. And oh yeah, the Chad Benson Show on Facebook too. Punk that.
The Bernie Sanders campaign has announced that in the first 12 hours after launching his presidential bid, Sanders raised more than $4 million in donations, which is great for Sanders. Great for Sanders, but terrible for the guy behind him at Coinstar.
Because he doesn't raise a lot of money like that. He doesn't get the pay. He gets quarters. So somebody's saying. That's how excited he gets about something. He gets quarters, he gets pennies, he gets nickels, he gets dimes, he gets quarters, pennies, nickels, dimes. Good for Sanders, though. That's great. I think it's great for... I love the fact that he does that. Like I said, I'm probably going to send him a check. Right? I don't agree with his politics. I'm not a fan of his. But the fact that he does it that way, I like it. I do. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson's Show is your Twitter. I don't know if you guys have been following the story. There's a lot of brides who decided, hey, you know what? ISIS and what they're doing, it looks good. And some of them are young American girls, and as well as other European ladies who've decided, hey, that looks like fun. And now they're upset because all that glittered wasn't gold there, and they want to come back.
The 24-year-old American who has been fighting to come back home, Hoda Muthanna, has now had her answer. The U.S. government saying that she was never a U.S. citizen in the first place because her father was a UN diplomat for the Yemeni delegation. And because she was born whilst he was a diplomat, that means that she really should never have been given a U.S. passport in the first place. And for that reason, she's not a U.S. national and she will not be repatriated to the United States.
Yeah, and they were pretty like, hey, no, sorry, you're not it. Trump tweeted out, sorry, get you're not coming back here. It's another one of those situations of like, you're sitting there. It's not like you don't know what's going on. You're discussing things with these people. You're seeing what they're doing over there, the things that they're doing. It's how bad is it here and in your world that you look over there and you say to self, that looks like a good idea, right? Like that looks like fun right there. That looks like some good time fun. They're killing people, and it's listening to some of them talk is, well, they're just upset about certain things. They're the beheadings and some of that other stuff. They're not, some of them are like, they're not too bummed about that or angry about that. It wasn't all it was cracked up to be. But I understand that it's not just us. Several other nations are like, sorry, you guys left. You decided you didn't want any part of this, of who we were, and you went and essentially you took up arms with the enemy. So goodbye. And I agree. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Love hearing from you. Man, the shoe exploded. Nike not happy. We'll touch on that. Tucker Carlson gets into it with a Dutch professor. And Roseanne Barr, what's wrong? Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent in thoughts and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
The American public has paid for the special counsel's work and for the report, and the American public deserves to see the product of what they paid for. The American public deserves to know whether or not their president is a crook, as Richard Nixon said he wasn't, and he was. And the American public needs to see it for themselves.
Oh, that's what the American public deserves. I want to know what's in the Mueller report. If it's going to come out in the next week or so, how long until we actually get to take a gander at it? I think it's a very real thing because Barr will be able to control it. But there is going to be limits on what we can see and indeed limits that probably what some of Congress can see. Barr has said he's going to be transparent, right? He's the new AG. He's going to be completely transparent. I just don't know if we're going to find the thing that, depending on what side of the aisle you're on and what you support or you don't support, whether you're part of the resist or you're part of the MAGA, I don't know if you're going to get all the answers you want. I just don't think you will. And he's not being indicted, obviously. It doesn't sound like anybody else at this point in time, in particular people that are close to him, Don Jr. and Kushner, look like they're being indicted at this moment in time. And we know how Washington can't keep their mouth shut, so that usually would have leaked out in some way, shape, or form. I just don't know if we're going to see any of this anytime soon. And then I think next Wednesday, Cohen is supposed to, and this will be salaciousness. He's going to testify in front of Congress. It's going to all be salaciousness, right? Because he says he's going to talk about taxes. He's going to give you an inside look into the Trump organization. So that's what he's going to give you, an inside look into the Trump organization. He's going to talk about taxes and talk about money he paid to women. He's going to talk about all of that stuff. But you've also got to take that for a grain of salt because he's come out and said stuff only to have Mueller, of all people, come out and say, nah, he's lying. So salaciousness, yes, that's what it's going to be, but that's what the news loves. And so why not, hope that it continues to stay the status quo?
It looks like Mueller time is almost here, especially looking into everything from the Trump campaign, how he won the White House, the Trump transition, what he did while taking over the White House, the Trump inauguration, who paid and why and where the money went for the party before the White House, and the Trump administration, what he's done since getting into the White House. Investigations are even digging into the Trump Foundation, including the purchase of massive portraits of the Donald. Now it's being looked at for possible campaign violations as well. The Trump Organization. And investigations into this could potentially scoop up members of the Trump family. And then, of course, there's the special counsel investigation, the big kahuna. So even if we see the special counsel's report very soon, trouble in Trumpland could be just beginning.
Yeah. You hope, right? Because it's something to talk about. Like, I hope that's what happens. It's something to talk about. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. We try to be as professional as possible, and I don't rise to the level of Tucker Carlson. I'm the bowler of the entertainment world. That's what talk shows are. We're the bowlers of the entertainment world. That's what radio people are, right? Like the professional bass fishermen and bowlers of the entertainment world. It's kind of who we are. Well, Tucker had on Dutch historian Rutger Bregman, and they were talking about some stuff, right? when it comes to socialism, and he was out at Davos and he was talking about a lot of different things, and people are like, man, he took Tucker to task talking about stuff. And it's interesting. You look at it in two different ways. Tucker readily admits he's an elite. He knows that, right? Like, if you know anything about Tucker Carlson, he grew up in Southern California, Orange County, San Diego area. His dad was a big time news anchor. The guy, went to the best schools. He knows he's an elite. He is. And at times he chides some of the eliteness and the fact that almost at times I feel like he thinks he's embarrassed by the stuff that has happened to him. And he understands that. But this guy and him got into it, and it was really interesting to listen to it.
The thing is, you guys have brought into power a president that doesn't even want to show its own tax returns. Who knows how many billions he has hidden in the Cayman Islands or in Bermuda. So I think the issue really is one of corruption and of people being bribed, not talking about the real issues. What the family, what the Murdochs basically want you to do is to scapegoat immigrants instead of talking about tax avoidance. So I'm glad you're now finally raising the issue.
And I'm taking orders from the Murdochs. Is that what you're saying?
So that's how it starts, and it's a Skype thing. So I'm taking orders from the Murdochs, right? Like and this is where it kind of gets weird, and we're scapegoating, immigrants. And this guy's written a book, and his book is he wants to get rid of all borders. You work a 15-hour week, and he's the darling of the left. It's really interesting. And look, I'm a big proponent. Let's figure out what a fair tax is. Let's get rid of all of these other things that allow people to, quote unquote, as some people say, not pay their fair share, as other people like me say, look, you put it in there. They use the system. And they do use the system. And if it's there, why wouldn't you use it, right? Like, if you're thirsty and there's a drinking fountain, and you don't use it, you're an idiot. It's there, so why not use it? I never thought of it like that. I remember a few years ago, I think it was Range Rover, and this goes back to the tax thing, right? Range Rover weighed over a certain amount of pounds, and in in California, that was enough to qualify as a farm vehicle. So people were buying it, and they were getting tax rebates and stuff like that. They were able to depreciate it in a way. The electric car thing. People were buying golf carts. They were marking them up to just about so you can get the rebate for the electric car. You could take them out on your street and zip around. You were getting a golf cart, and you were getting it essentially for free because it was meant for Priuses, but somebody figured out, hey, we can do this for this, so we're going to take advantage of it, right? So there's ways to take advantages of stuff, but it's not taking advantage. You're not doing it and nobody else, nobody else can do this. I'm taking advantage. No, it's there. I'm just going to take advantage of it. So he and Bregman here, they start to go back and forth, and it's about, Bregman's kind of, you're kind of the problem too.
No, it doesn't work that directly. But you've been part of the Cato Institute, right? You've been a senior fellow there for years. You've been taking their dirty money. They're funded by cock billionaires,
Wait, why don't you tell me how it does work?
It works by you taking their dirty money. It's as easy as that. You are a millionaire funded by billionaires. That's what you are. You're not part of the solution, Mr. Carlson. You're part of the problem, actually.
Oh, so, it is interesting as they start to go at it, right? Because overnight, he's become the darling of the left, and he's basically telling him, hey, you're a millionaire, but you're taking money from billionaires who are telling you what to say. As if nobody else, like everybody's taking some orders from somebody. Am I right? Everybody's getting paid by somebody above them. Now, do they have an agenda? Well, I think if we look around, journalism's pretty much dead. Every place has an agenda. Fox delivers news and the way that it should be delivered, in their opinion, to the people that want to consume it that way. MSNBC and everybody else does it that other way, right? So it's very interesting when you think about it. And, look, his ideas are out there, and the tax avoidance thing, I'm willing to get on board and talk about stuff like that. Absolutely. But then Carlson loses his cool.
You jumped the bandwagon. You're all like, oh, I'm against the globalist elite, blah, blah, blah. It's not very convincing, to be honest.
Why don't you go yourself, you tiny brain, and I hope this gets picked up. Because you're a moron. I tried to give you a hearing, but you were too annoying for me.
You can't handle the criticism, can you?
Yeah, so, and it's interesting. Again, he wants a universal basic income, open borders, a 15-hour work week. He thinks it's a utopia for everybody. Here's the issue. First of all, the way Tucker handled it was awful. It was. And you can sit there and you can say, look, you know what? Yeah, we all have our thing, I mean, I'm not going to deny it. I get paid by somebody. They don't tell me what to say or do. They don't. But we also answer to like the FCC and things like that. So I can't come out here and drop F-bombs, do this, that, and the other. Everybody's got their boss in life. This guy's boss is the readers, the people that he caters to. If they get sick and tired of him, they don't like him. It's not like, and people already come out and said, well, you sound, Soros give you money, and that's where everybody goes with that. He lost his cool, and he addressed it, which I thought was, what you needed to.
So I did what I try hard never to do on this show, and I was rude. I called him a moron, and then I modified that word with a vulgar Anglo-Saxon term that is also intelligible in Dutch. In my defense, I would say that was entirely accurate, but you're not allowed to use that word on television. So once I'd said it out loud, there was no airing the segment.
Yeah, you could have, but you lost your cool. It wasn't a cool thing.
I hear people talk in the language of participation and justice and equality and transparency. But then, almost no one raises the real issue of tax avoidance, right? And of the rich just not paying their fair share. It feels like I'm at a firefighters conference and no one's allowed to speak about water.
That was him at Davos. And that's what for him, it's about tax. It's about rich. It's about paying their fair share. What's the fair share? For me, depending, you pay your taxes once a year or quarterly, whatever it is. I think a lot of us get frustrated. It's like, where does our money go? How is it being spent? Why is it being spent not the way it should be being spent? And I say, hey, let everybody choose where that money goes. I'd love to see where people would put their money and where they'd put their money. If given their druthers. If you could say, all right, you pay, let's just say a round number of $10,000 a year in taxes. And you had a chance to say, okay, I want to put $3,500 into military. I want to put $1,000 into, to Medicare, or I want to put it all into Medicare. It would be interesting. But Tucker lost his cool. And this guy's big thing is, the rich, let's get rid of borders and let's take the money, let's redistribute it, let's give everybody just a basic income, and there's no borders, and we can just all hang out, and it's utopian ridiculousness. And he lost his cool. This guy's become a darling on the left, and Tucker looks like an idiot. He does. He looks like he jacked the pooch with that one. He absolutely did. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. And I'm totally, look, when we talk taxes, I got zero problem with that. Let's talk taxes. Absolutely 110%. I think that tax avoidance is real. I think the rich take it and they run with it. But I don't think they do anything illegal. I think what they do is they play with inside the game that is set up for them. They just do it better than everybody else. So what do? Fair tax. I'm all about that. Let's try that and see what that does. Let's try that 1 year, see what happens. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. Twitter, tweet at us. Love hearing from you. MyPillow is great. Got my MyPillow, got my travel stuff. I'll be traveling for a lot over the next 2+ weeks. I think I'm on the road for like 10 days of the next like 12 or 13. So I've got my go anywhere pillow, but I know I'm going to sleep well thanks to MyPillow, and you will too. Don't be a skeptic that doesn't put your skepticism of whatever it is that you're looking to the test. That's what I did. I was a skeptic. I put it to the test with MyPillow. They won out. I'm a believer. You should be too. Nothing to lose right now. 4 pillows, 2 premium pillows, 2 go anywhere pillows, half the price, free shipping, and extended their money-back guarantee until March. What are you waiting for? Nothing to lose, 100% machine washable, dryable, made in the USA, backed by a 10-year warranty. And again, 4 pillows, 2 premium, 2 go-anywhere pillows, half the price, free shipping. Go to mypillow.com, use the promo code Benson, or call 800-944-4975, 800-944-4975, or mypillow.com, and use the promo code Benson. It's the Chad Benson Show.
No fake outrage here, just the real thing. The Chad Benson Show.
Just 30 seconds into the game, a second look for Duke, and here's Zion, his first touch. Fell down at the free throw line. He's grabbing at his right and left knee as the other way goes Johnson to lay it in. And a scary moment here at the outset as now Zion Williamson reaches down to his left ankle. His shoe is off. It looks like he stepped through his shoe, John. Like the seam on the shoe broke, his foot came through the shoe.
Yeah, and if you don't know who Zion Williamson is, even people I know who have nothing to do with sports or care about sports understands that this guy he is a generational player. He may be, and you hate to do this to a kid, but in this day and age, because of the hype that surrounds it and the fact that they're around the media 24/7, so it's not like it used to be. He is what many people say, this is what LeBron would have been in college if he had to go to college. But he also makes a great argument of not going to college because he didn't have to. He would have been the number 1 pick as a junior out of high school. He is a beast. And last night, playing the biggest rival as he plays for Duke, his first step as he gets the ball, his Nike shoe explodes and he twists his knee.
Duke was just 36 seconds into its game against North Carolina when freshman sensation Zion Williamson went down awkwardly.
Slipping and injured is Zion Williamson.
The replay showed when he planted one foot, the blue rubber sole on his Nike ripped away from the rest of the shoe.
He blew through his shoe.
Yeah. His coach said Williamson, who's projected to be the top pick in the NBA draft, has a mild knee sprain.
We don't know how long he'll be out.
Nike released a statement saying it's obviously concerned and calling what happened an isolated occurrence and, quote, we are working to identify the issue.
And why did they say that? Because overnight their stock went. Yeah, that's how big he is. And literally how big he is. I think he's like 6'9", 290 pounds, and not an ounce of fat on him. I mean, they like, hey, we should sculpt him like Chad Benson. And then except for the part where, got the pounds. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You could tweet at us. Jussie Smollett is facing the music. If you haven't heard, turned himself in today, and people are still trying to figure out what in God's name was this guy who is a star on a major television show doing, faking this. But he's got some serious issues now. It went from a hate crime to a hoax very fast.
It was an intense investigation. It's a very meticulous case. It took a lot of city resources, and he's going to be held accountable for that.
Yeah, he faces up to, I think it's a Class 4 felony in Illinois, and he faces up to 3 years in prison. He won't see any prison time, but he will be. I'm throwing it out there. I bet he ends up in some sort of rehab because that's what you do to go away and try to disappear from the spotlight. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Your useless fact of the day. It is Black History Month. Here's something you probably didn't know. Guy by the name of Bass Reeves. He was born a slave, became a free man, and was one of the greatest marshals in the history of our great country. How great? Over 3,000 arrests, killed 14 outlaws, was in numerous shootouts, never once got shot, ever. Even arrested his own son. He is the person who inspired the Lone Ranger. Think about those apples. Have yourself a wonderful rest of your day.
This is the Chad Benson Show.